super excited of women in the metaverse. Now you guys know every single Monday we come to you guys to have iron sharpening conversations. And what does that mean?
Now you guys know every single Monday we come to you guys to have iron sharpening conversations. And what does that mean? Now you guys know every single Monday we come.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. You guys know we are actually working on our new way. Where we actually are streaming this in our treehouse, so you can see the WIM treehouse. This is our public space, which is open for anyone to come and watch, and you can see us there on the big screen, where I'm actually located, still here, and with my avatar. And the WIM studio, which is a token gated space, which means you actually have to have one of our WIM NFTs, which you can get right there actually in the WIM treehouse at the end. I do usually tell you how to get that if you want to know more. But let's get into these iron sharpening conversations I was just telling you guys about, because that's what we are all here for. So every single Monday we come into the metaverse to talk about the different things that are going to sharpen each of us as we continue to navigate this space. Different women have come on to the show to lead the conversation, be a part of the conversation, and you guys know every month I'll give you a few hot topics that we'll talk about. Different seasons we've talked about different topics and all different kind of things. If you want to know more, go watch, because we've got plenty for you guys to watch for all different kind of topics. And so this month though, we have been focusing on AI explicitly. Why? Because it's been such a pertinent conversation amongst everyone, and I'm like, you know what, if we are supposed to be the women in the metaverse that are leading these kind of iron sharpening conversations so that we are aware when this kind of stuff is happening, that's what I really wanted to focus on. So we broke it down to a few segments where the first week we actually did some demos, and I showed how you can become more efficient as a woman in the metaverse, as a content creator, using AI to help with your time. Tiny Crates took over the week after that for a special Mother's Day edition for mommies in the metaverse, one of our OG counterparts. And then last week we talked about how AI can protect women, and of course you guys know on the flip side how women can protect themselves from AI. So this week we are going to be talking about how AI will affect our next generation. And you guys know I'm always going to keep it real, so we're going to talk about the good and we're going to talk about the not so good. And I would love to hear your thoughts, opinions, and everything in between. So make sure you guys drop that in the comments, and let's get into it. So here with the new WIM studio, I have been loving just to sit in all the different spaces. I'm really excited. If you actually hold this NFT, not only will it open up the space for you to come here during our live sessions on Mondays, but you'll actually also be able to use this space to host your own events or podcasts. So it's really cool for the women in the Metaverse network. So let's get into what we're here for though, which is talking about how AI is going to be affecting our children. Because again, one of those things when we talk about women and moms, one of those beautiful things about women and mothers is we don't usually just think about ourselves, right? We're usually thinking about a friend, our mother, our partner, our children. When you educate a woman, it doesn't stop there because of our nurturing nature, right? We want to show the next person. I see Tiny just joined the space. Welcome, Tiny. Feel free to come sit over here at the mic with me. Because we're gonna use this main space over here. I think this is a really cute space, and I wanted to give some little shine to. And let me see if I can get a nice little zoom in over here. Oh, I'm not even unmuted. Let me see. Hey Tiny, welcome. You can come sit over here where I'm actually sitting so that you can be in the camera if you'd like. Otherwise, we're just rolling and about to get into AI and how it's affecting the children. Because just like I was saying, when a woman learns something, it doesn't stop there because of our nurturing nature. Even if you don't have kids, you have friends or you have family or someone that you're going to want to pass this on to that you think can help and everything like that. And so I'm very excited to get into how it will affect the children, because for someone like myself and Tiny, I know, we're always talking about how we are in these spaces mostly because of our kids and how we want to be learning and educating ourselves to better them. So at that point, we also have to take the time to understand how it's affecting them, so that in these times we can make sure we're hurting them and helping them. So as I told you guys, I've got some pros and some cons, and I'm going to start with the goods. So number one, with how AI can actually affect kids, is education. So AI is revolution education by offering personalized learning experiences. Intelligent tutoring systems can adapt to children's individual needs, providing tailored instruction and feedback. AI-powered educational apps and platforms also enhance engagement and interactivity, making learning more enjoyable. Now think about it. I know for myself, like when I think about this, one of these apps or computer things that my son uses is called education.com. You guys have never used it, use it. It's a free resource that has so many educational games, and you can set them all into like a little curriculum. They have their own curriculum that you can follow along. They do like reading, math, and like typing, right? And so it's really interesting with how you can, have them take a test and do assessments, and now these algorithms will kind of start to tailor their specific learning experiences, right? Or he's even in my son, because we're all about virtual life, we are definitely trying, especially with our kids, and so he's also into virtual school where he does like online Zoom classes basically, right? So now that he's been in quite a few different ones, you can definitely see the algorithm, sending me emails like, hey, there's a new Lego class. Like, you might like the new summer Lego class that they've got out here, even trying to pitch me to get him into new classes and things like that. But it's cool because, again, it makes it enjoyable for him, because the AI can also see, hey, that's one of those classes he always showed up to, no matter what. That was something that he enjoyed. And the more that AI gets intertwined right in the school system, right in the results, right in the curriculum, the more we'll start to see how AI, because, that's one of the things that people love AI for, is the data, and being able to analyze the data and not having to have gone to college to be able to do that, to have it, and again, in the infrastructure to be collecting the data and then know what you're looking at it from there, and making that pretty easy. And so it's going to be very interesting to watch how that plays out. Tiny, I know you said you can't, chat much, but feel free to drop any of your thoughts in the chat, and I'll definitely read them. Or anybody, because I can also see the YouTube chat over in the treehouse. So if anybody wants to, drop your thoughts, please feel free. Next is going to be accessibility. Now, AI technologies are improving accessibility for children with disabilities. For example, right? AI-powered speech recognitions enables children with speech impairments to communicate effectively. Also, assistive technology and robots can assist children with physical disabilities to perform daily tasks. Again, think about how critical it is for children at that age, and think about if they didn't have that hurdle to say, hey, you know what? I have no way of actually being able to get something done. They, can use AI to overcome that, and can focus on now overcoming, living with AI, instead of battling not even be able to get over that first hurdle, right? Which is actually completing the task that they can't achieve. And so I think, being able to take that step to say, hey, and to make a simple example, right? They said maybe a wheelchair, right? Maybe a kid that has to use a wheelchair because his legs, aren't maybe he's paralyzed or something like that. So he's in a wheelchair, and so maybe AI or prosthetic legs allows him to be able to walk again, right? And so now he doesn't have to, go through those young years of seeing how to actually become able to walk, but is able to get past that hurdle and on to the next one, on just being able to focus on how to live life walking now with AI. right? And how that starts to transform kids' mindsets to what they can do and how they can do it. Because I feel like a lot of the kids in this generation have kind of lost that push to be able to achieve anything. And shout out to Shiva Leela. I see you just made it over into the WIM Treehouse. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you fill out the Google form that's over there, because I don't think you have so far, and that will actually get you the airdrop for our new WIM NFT that will get you to this token gated WIM studio. And so, but feel free to hang out in the treehouse, drop any of your thoughts in the chat. We'll definitely read them aloud and pop back over at the treehouse in the end. And right now we're just talking about how AI is affecting children. And we've really been focused on, we just talked about education and accessibility. And again, how accessibility can help those with disabilities. Next, we're going to go into entertainment. Now, AI plays a significant role in children's entertainment because of their interactive toys, virtual learning, AR experiences. I mean, guys, literally think about how much we've been engaged with this since we are, and how much kids are going to be using it, especially as they get in tune with like Chat GPT and all of these other like AI tools that are actually going to be helping them in school. I can't even imagine. I'm sure if I ask my brother, he's in high school, actually I'm going to have to talk to him like, what are y'all doing over there in high school with all this AI? Because you can use it to do so much in school now. And I know, of course, they started to have to create the counterparts to be able to check for plagiarism and, act fast, because AI is acting faster. But, kids are creative. So again, it just opens up a lot more when you think about what they'll be able to do, and they're just doing something, somebody's entertaining themselves with AI, right? And so let me see here. Dang, my phone died. That sucks. I have my notes there. So let me see. Let me get this pulled up. Bear with me, guys. And then I'm hoping you guys are liking this new setup. It was cool being able to see Shiva pop over there into the tree house. I'm over here, got it going. Yeah, you get a little better every time you do it, guys. I'm trying to tell you. So back into it. Let me see. We just talked about the entertainment for kids and how that helps. Okay, next we've got a few more ones here, and then we'll talk about the dangers, or not the dangers, but again, the things you got to watch out for. So next is going to be, of course, safety. Now, AI is being used to enhance children's safety online. AI algorithms can detect and block inappropriate content, cyberbullying, and grooming behaviors. Okay, AI-powered parental control systems help parents monitor and control their children's online activities, ensuring a safer digital environment. Again, I don't think that is, too hard for us to understand, because we remember when the internet first came out, and it was like, you don't talk to strangers online, and how that's changed so much to, well, hey, it's okay to talk to strangers online, but watch how you talk to strangers, and, really be mindful of that. And so that's something that, I would just say that I definitely see how AI can help. I know Spatial, the Metaverse platform that we're here, was actually having issues when somebody was coming in here, using racial slurs, coming into people's spaces and just trolling, right? Creating spaces with horrible names. But they were able to use AI to help stop those issues. And so, again, it was because of AI being able to say, hey, well, let's see what names, what words. If you drop in the chat right now and you try to put a bad word, it won't let you drop the whole chat there anymore, right? And it's, again, because of these AI safety nets that we have in place to try to help protect these communities. And so I think that's really important, especially when it comes to kids who are super vulnerable and new to the space and innocent, right? And so then we have the future job market, which is, again, so important when we talk about why we're doing this and trying to help our kids be in better positions in the future. So the next is going to be the future job market. So the next generation will enter a workforce heavily influenced by AI, right? So children need to develop skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and adaptability, so that they can actually change and adapt in this new market. So education educational institutes are also going to be incorporating AI related topics into their curriculums in order to again prepare students for these AI driven careers. The best example I can put it is you guys know CJ here within the network. Her son, when he was in school, it's a beautiful example. He took all of this information that his mother has been learning and pouring into him, and actually now has a part-time job driving a drone. Yes, driving a drone. We all see it, we all have heard about it, but she's actually poured it into him, and she's seeing her son be about it. And think about when you was maybe in college, or maybe why you hadn't go to college, because you understood the money that it would take or not take. And think about if you had education that you thought would be sufficient for you to be able to pay. I know I went to college and I didn't even finish college because I was paying for it. But if I had something like being able to fly a drone instead of my slaving full-time jobs and trying to get a clothing line up off the ground, but if I had something that was going to be for the future that he was able to apply and get into and make a real mark in, that changes the game for so many in this space. And then let me see here. I see Tiny has definitely dropped a bunch of things here in the chat, so let me read. I see she has also said she's grateful to be here, just finished her NFT, great to hear. And then Tiny I see says, I love seeing how Google search makes stuff easier for us as kids have AI tools now to help ours, right? And if you would have told me when I was a kid that I'd meet my best friend on the internet, I would have thought you were crazy. But look at us now. Literally, I would have thought you were crazy. Like, how would you even really know that person? Like, how would you even have gotten so close? Like, I would have not have believed. But we've gone to concerts. We've gone to baby showers. I hosted your baby shower. Like, we've been able to do so many things virtually, And then safety for the kids is definitely one of my biggest things. Will be interesting to see the tools that are out there by the time my kids are bigger. It is, and those tools, and just like I was saying, that job market, right? We have little kids, not even 5 years old. I think me and Shiva's kids is probably the oldest here, And that's like, think about, they're not even about to be in the job market for at least another 10 years. Like, and they still got 10 and a couple. So think about how vastly different the world is going to be with AI intact, with all of these jobs and what they're going to even be looking for, right? So again, when we talk about that, I know a lot of us kind of think like not even trying to get our kids in like a worker mindset, but again more so in creativity and giving them something to be able to continue to build on within these next 10 years so that they can just kind of have something they can start at. So, and that's something for everybody that's listening to be thinking about. Even if you do want them to go a traditional route on getting a job, you need to be thinking about that. Because I know Queen Hazel was actually in here one of our last episodes, and she was saying how her daughter has a class in her school that's like teaching them how to use Unity and Blender right now, and she put her daughter in that elective, and it's like, you're gonna take that elective every year because I want to make sure you understand how to use these tools, because I'm in this space and I know that this is the stuff you're really going to need, and people are getting paid thousands of dollars to be able to build one of these spaces using these tools that you're learning. So again, those are the kind of things that we can be doing as parents when we're thinking of what to help our kid use their time for, because we got to do it. You can't put that responsibility on your kid. They're just a kid. They want to have fun, right? So we as the parents have to put them in the right position to be as successful as they can be. And then next we have our ethical considerations, which is the rise that AI raises important ethical questions that children and the next generation will need to grapple with, which would be understanding ethical implications of AI, such as privacy, bias to algorithms, the impact of social interactions, and the crucial and how it's crucial for informed decision making and responsible use for technology. And so what I mean by that is it's going to take these next generations to fight through a lot of these issues that we're going through. And it's really interesting because if you see a lot of them, they aren't the kind of kids that you could just tell anything and they're going to go with, right? They're not like back in the day, if it was like segregation times and they would have been like, hey, all the black kids got to go drink water from that water fountain, they would have been like, you're tripping. Like, everybody, I'm not going to that water fountain. It's got dirt on it, and would have went to the water fountain they would have went to. You know, like, this generation is just different, where they are looking for reason, and it's cool because the entire generation is like that, right? Because even those you don't see such an oppressive part of the community either. Even that part, you don't see, you know, somebody trying to. I mean, you do see the idea on like the cancel culture, I would say, which is, again, these kind of things that we're going to have to address, where maybe you say the wrong thing or don't agree with everyone else, then that's kind of where you get the backlash. But for the most part, they have become a more liberated and open, you know, generation. And I think that will help them work through a lot of these, you know, cycles that we've been going through, and they'll be able to start making a lot of those. If you guys see like really futuristic movies, you know how they're supposed to be like super ethical and great people, but then end up still being like really dark down on the inside kind of thing. So again, I think when you see those kind of visions of the future, it's because of, again, these kind of things where, because of AI, it's going to help us work through a lot of our issues by being able to say, hey, listen, we understand there's biases, we understand there's racism, we understand there's sexism, we understand there's ageism, we understand there's every kind of ism that can discriminate against a person, but how can we implement it in the system not to? And once we start making those systematic changes, then that's when we're going to start to see a lot transform from there. And on that note, the last thing I want to say with how AI can affect our children, and welcome, Soph. Great to see you there over in the WIM Treehouse. Make sure while you're there you fill out the Google form so that you get a Women in the Metaverse NFT airdropped for you, and then you'll actually get access to this token gated studio that we're recording in now. And if I haven't told you, the really cool thing about the NFT is that you'll also get access to this space, not only when we're filming, but to host your own events, and of course your own live studio sessions and stuff like that. So really great to be in the network. This month we're talking all about AI and and this week we're talking about how AI is affecting, or can affect, children. Can, will, could, however you want to phrase it, it's something we got to think about. And I want everybody to be sharing your thoughts, questions, or concerns in the chat. And so then kind of moving right along, like I said, the last one was just social interactions. Now, AI-powered communication tools and social media algorithms and virtual reality experiences can shape children's social interactions. So it's important to strike a balance and encourage face-to-face interactions and teach digital citizenship to foster healthy relationships and skills. Now, y'all, when I say digital citizenship, this is a real term that they are teaching kids, and it's important. When right now I'm homeschooling my son, and he's about to go to kindergarten, and there's actually a charter school in our area that I really like, and so I applied for him to see, you know, if he would get in there. They have a really great tech program, and you know, I'm always going on the website exploring different things, and actually on their tech site, at the end of it, it was like, you know, welcome, and here's how to educate your children about their digital citizenship and safety and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, wow, they're already educating our kids, and you know, again, they're becoming aware of these terms that adults aren't even aware of. Adults don't even understand that there's a whole nother form of citizenship right now called your digital twin and these digital assets. They see the metaverse and NFTs and crypto and all these new digital, you know, assets, and kind of brush it off as something that's going to phase. Yet children in their schools are learning how to use these same digital tools to learn, to interact, to socialize, to debate, to educate, to teach. They're using it to do everything, and it's being, again, incorporated in a system dramatic way, and we understand the impact that has. So aside from all of those great things that we just talked about, because I think we all, have used AI a little bit here or there. I can't even say we all, because I can't speak for all of us, but you guys know we've talked about AI a lot this month, and again, the good that it can do to help, but also the things that you want to watch out for, because you have to have that healthy balance with anything. And so some of those dangers that I would say we can, watch out for, again, when we were talking about the ethical things that AI would be great for, but we also have to think about it ethically with, well, if AI is collecting all of this information so that it knows you, AI also has all of that information about your child. So now you have to think about your privacy, your children's data, and AI and the systems or programs or softwares that that AI software company has. Who is that company, and who really has your children's data, and what are they really doing with that data, right? Because I think we've all had that moment where we've given someone our phone number and we're like, oh, we know they're going to sell it, right? Now we understand that part of the business where it's like, you've given out your phone number and they're going to sell it to a telemarketer who's going to call you and try to sell you something else, right? But think about when it's like that with your data too. Right, because the more that you're on these platforms, the more that you start to give, you have to think about who has it once it's given and what they're using it for. Because we know AI is just this super tool to help market to us and sell to us and kind of create these tailored experiences where we almost don't even have to do it for ourselves because it's done it so well for us. But if it knows you that well, again, the people on that platform or that company knows you that well as well. And I see Shiva dropping in the chat over here. She said, I guess they know who we are. They do, and they know you better than you think, right? And so I know some of us as adults, again, a lot of people, they're like, we've been doing it so far already. Instagram already does it. All these social media platforms already do it. Cool. But when it comes to these kids, that's where we all start to, again, think and pause and start to wonder, like, okay, well, what do I want to get my kid in, right? Because I know when I was in high school, my mother did not let me get on MySpace, right? I remember when she helped me make an email just so I could get on Facebook, and that was by high school, right? Because up until then, she was not here for none of the internet gimmicks before that. And again, it's again because you have to use your own discernment for what as a parent and how much you can protect your child and put them out into that sphere. And for my mother personally, she was on Facebook, she had an email, so she knew that was something that we could do, and then kind of went from there. So that's why I definitely encourage, again, parents or just, again, women to take the time to learn these kind of things or think about them as we continue to move forward. Another one of those things we can talk about is the algorithm. I've been talking about the algorithm a lot because that's the main thing AI is, right? It stores all this data and then it uses this algorithm to spit out all the data, right? And so these algorithms can also be biased, right? Because first of all, AI gets all of its information from the past. AI is not a great predictive program. It's not over here, if you try to ask it about a book that was written last month, it can't tell you that. Well, I guess depending on what software you are, but if you're like using ChatGPT, for example, I think its last it goes back as 2018. Or maybe 2018 I believe it was. So that's 5 years ago. And so think about it. If you think about the biases and how society is perceived, and then you ask AI a question, if it's giving you information from a biased resources, it can then only give you biased answers back. Right? So that's also where we see this conflict on, again, where is AI even getting this information from? Who is sourcing AI and who is, kind of rechecking that? And so I see Shiva dropped another message here and said, I used to get paid to customize my space pages for friends in middle school. I had to sneak though. You see? That's what I'm saying. That was you using those skills at that time. You probably knew how to do the words down the wall and everything. I had a friend like that too. She had a few MySpace paces, and I would go to her house, and then we would be talking to all her friends on there, and it'd be like, oh, it's lit, her MySpace. But definitely, and that's crazy how you again use that to actually get paid in middle school, right? And that's how we can be thinking about how something as simple as making MySpace pages. Think about these spaces right now here in the metaverse, right? People are charging all kinds of money to make these kind of spaces, and it's that same equivalent, right? It's just a new way about it. And there are kids that are into these spaces. Roblox is literally the metaverse, but for kids, and they're getting paid real money building their spaces, building games, building assets, selling everything in there. It's the same exact thing. It's just, history repeats itself, just another way around. I see Tiny said, it's already to the point where I used to be creeped out when ads would pop up that I was talking about, and now I be saying stuff out loud hoping that ad will pop up for it. No, for real, Tiny. Like, ooh, I love that. That reminds me of that one reel that was going around when it was like the girlfriend, and she was like walking by my boyfriend's phone saying a bunch of random stuff, so it started dropping hints for me. It's like, it's so true. Like, these phones can hear you. It's already picking that up, and it's going to suggest what you're thinking about. You was just saying something, and now, or you texting about one thing, and you going to Google, it's suggesting your whole search right there. That's the one that always gets me. I'd be like, dang, how that's my whole sentence I was about to put in. And then she was said, but it never does pop up when you need it. Ain't that the truth? It pop up like a day later, and you be like, bro, get out my face, bro. Just please. Definitely. And that's the algorithm, right? There's no way that we control it. We just, hope. We put it out there, see when it come back around, and that's going to be the interesting when you actually even learn how to control that, as we've always all said, being able to say it here, or little tricks, and we're just going to see that more, especially our kids. They're growing up using that, man. My son, he watches YouTube, and I'd be like, how did you even find your YouTube videos? And it's because, his algorithm is already on his YouTube page. And, we be mindful, me and my husband. So we be, going in and searching different things so that we control his algorithm, right? And then try to use that to our advantage. Because, again, these kids are growing up with it. And so, again, once you see that, you can kind of use it to your advantage when you know how to work it, right? Go search Teacher Aya, go search, all the good stuff. So that's all in the playlist, because, they just going to press play and YouTube going to play if you're a YouTube parent. If not, no judgment. Everybody got things that work for them. But these kids are growing up in it nonetheless. So, it's just all about how you present it to yours. Love the conversation though. Love the chats everybody's been dropping. Definitely keep them coming. Next thing we have to watch out for is, again, the social impact. Now, AI can impact social interactions and relationships. So children may overall become reliant on virtual interactions and digital experiences, which could affect their social skills, right, and their emotional well-being in general. So it's important to definitely foster a balance between online and offline, which is why I even myself said, I love homeschooling, but I have considered, a charter school, because my son wants to be around other kids. Like, there's nothing that he talks more than being around other kids and in school and his friends and being on the school bus and, being amongst his peers, right? That's something that he wants to do. And so, that's important. So although, we do have OutSchool, which is great for anybody that is doing that balance, because we have a lot of classes, right, where some are just more about talking. Like I said, he's in a Lego class, right? So he sees 10 other kids, and the teacher tells them something to build, and they're all building Legos and talking, and he gets that interaction. But it's still not the same as if the kid was there and they were playing Legos together and having to share and have conflict, and the same as when I'm in there playing with him. So again, understanding as a parent what you have gone through and what has made you the amazing person that you are, and making sure you include that in them too. Like, I take structure very serious here in my household, because I know we again are non-traditional, but I'm like, I know when I was going to school, I was up by 5 o'clock in the morning because my mother was having to drop me off at daycare, or I was going to have to wake up from my own alarm, get to school myself, or I had my morning routine. And I know that was something that worked well for me, so it's like, okay, as a child, maybe I don't need my kid waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, because again, I don't necessarily need to foster everything, but still routine where you're going to wake up and know what you're supposed to do for the day and how to get your day started, and just be used to routine in general, again, because I know that worked for me, so I'm trying to pour that into him in its own way. And again, that's what we have to do as parents when we're in these different spaces, learning everything, pouring it into them. And so on that note, I just have one more thing that I would add here, which is most importantly, the dependency on AI, which is one of those, again, that is one of those things that we should be a little bit alarmed about, right? Because again, our kids are growing up with it, where, we've been using Siri for a while now, and nobody would have called Siri AI up until, recently, when now it's like, oh, that's AI, because, that's this hot term. Up until then, I was just like, oh, this is Siri, this is this, new thing that we have going on here. And so think about how more dependent kids are now. Instead of having a homework assignment, their first reaction is thinking of what AI software they can go find to help them solve it. Or whenever they have any kind of issue, their first thought is going to find their AI assistant that's going to help them do this and kind of skate by. Or they have a question, I know for me, we grew up with Google, so I have a question, I'm going to go to Google and put in my question. This new generation is going to go into AI, put in their question. Now, the good thing about Google, when you put in that question, usually at least 10 websites pop up on one page, right? Where you could kind of scroll through, get a little piece of each one, and kind of start to decipher which one you want to start with, and start to get some general consensus. You see some YouTube videos, you can see some pictures, you can without even diving into any of the actual articles, just from the Google search, start to get different resources, right, to start to go from there. With AI, that's one resource that you put your question into, and it's going to use its algorithm to generate its answer and give it back to you. Now, as we talked about earlier in this podcast, who's fact checking the AI? Where is the AI getting its resources from? How biased is the AI? So again, more as our children become more dependent on just asking AI and trusting whatever it says, they're going to start reading less. They're going to start having less of a drive to go and, solve answers, right? A lot of us, I know, get almost like that curiosity, drives us. Wanting to learn drives us, especially here in the Raw DAO. We all love learning, we all love building, but without that, almost friction to learn, when it's just so easy that, okay, you could put in AI and it'll tell you your answer, and now you could put in AI and it could build your 3D object, and you could put in AI and it can start to do everything for you. You will start to be able to put all that more into that just creativity, right, and the output of it, but you will also become more dependent on AI even doing that bulk for you, the bulk of the work, if these kids aren't learning how to do those steps for them as well. And so, I just say, hey, we got to think about that. If they have all of your information, how dependent is that? Are you on that? If, they got your, I've seen now where like your digital ID, for example, right, where you have your health and your money and your ID and just everything connected. Right, and again, how you can become dependent on that and connected to that. And again, so all these different concepts, all these different things, we want to be, pouring into our children and teaching them how not to, right? Like, yes, AI is great, but how not to be dependent, how to use it as a tool, how to, we over here be focusing on how to be more efficient than AI. If AI can do this, well, we have to be able to do it even faster too. so that AI is still not as, strong as you, right? Because it is still a program. So, you want to still be teaching your kid that yes, AI is a powerful tool, but you are even more powerful because you are going to be the one programming it. And again, it starts with that mindset, especially for this next generation. So we've talked a lot about the different things that are amazing that is doing great for our children with AI. Some of those things we want to watch out for when it comes to AI and our children. And yeah, I think y'all got a lot to go take home with. So let me see. I don't see any new chats, so this has been really cool. Let me come pop over to the treehouse and welcome everyone. It's great to see you guys here. Now, to all of our viewers as well that's watching on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or Facebook, you guys know this WIM Treehouse is actually always open. So you can come here anytime and fill out this Google form right here. And then if you do, then you'll get airdropped a special NFT, which actually looks like this here, which is our Lean On Me portrait. And then you can put that in your space there just like that, but then you'll also be able to access that studio, which you can find here on this link to this picture once you get that NFT. And then just as I was telling you guys initially, not only will that unlock the space for you to join us there on Mondays during our live studio sessions, but you will also be able to unlock the space to use for your own events or your own podcast for being a woman in the metaverse. And a lot more that's in store. So this has been a really great episode. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to add it? Any questions, thoughts, or concerns about how you think children is affecting, or how AI is affecting children? Before we roll out. Otherwise, if not, this has been a really great episode. It was awesome seeing all of you wonderful women in the metaverse today. I hope to see more of you soon, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.